Warning, censorship. Warning, censorship. Warning, censorship.
Hey everybody, Ezra Levant here. How you doing? It's January 22nd. As you know, every day at 12 noon, we do a live stream with a super chat. And as you know, we love to hear your super chats, and we appreciate the financial contribution they make because YouTube's largely demonetized us, but they do give us 70% of your super chats. So thanks to all our loyal supporters. There is a lot of news out there today. In particular, the defenestration. We use that word a lot, don't we? That means being thrown out of a window. The defenestration of the Governor General by Justin Trudeau. And I'm quite sure that Julie Payette is a little bit pouty and a little bit of a prima donna. I mean, how could she not be? That's the whole Ottawa entitlement class. But her personality was not unknown before Trudeau appointed her. He just wanted to check all the boxes in his, he's all about intersectionality and racial quotas and gender quotas, and he just thought it would be cool to have Julie Payette. But I think I'm more sympathetic than most, even maybe more sympathetic than some of the other rebels, because to me I so clearly see two things at play. The first is the double standard. Justin Trudeau is a serial groper who sexually assaulted Rose Knight, a young woman in Creston, BC. He doesn't deny it. His excuse is she experienced it differently. So Julie Payette is run out of town. The Governor General, who's higher than the Prime Minister in our constitutional hierarchy, if you didn't know. So she's run out, no trial, no hearings, no chance to clear her name. She's run out of town. For Trudeau's own sins, I thought it was rather cheeky that in her goodbye letter, she used Trudeau's own phrase, she experienced it differently. Apparently she put her hand on someone's arm or something. No process. I'm sure she is hell on wheels. But I'm also, and I think any viewer would have to acknowledge, that the timing of this is so obviously determined. She was going to go yesterday, right when it was revealed that Justin Trudeau had never until yesterday got on the phone with the president of Pfizer, that Canada alone was being cut off to 0 doses of the vaccine, if you're into that sort of thing. I'm a vaccine skeptic when it comes to coronavirus, because I think that we know the disease is much less deadly for anyone under 70 than we thought before. And we don't know the side effects of the vaccine because it's so new. So those things, two things together make me say, ooh, I'm going to hold off a bit on jabbing that COVID-19 vaccine in my own arm. But for those who believe in the vaccine, those who want the vaccine, those who either for mental or physical reasons just need that vaccine, I say have at it, you know. I mean, why not? Well, the answer why not is because Justin Trudeau screwed up his one job. I mean, most of health matters in Canada are at the provincial level. Health is a constitutional matter given to the provinces. So that's why you have premiers in charge of most lockdowns and most of the insanity. But Trudeau really had one job, which was close the borders to China. He didn't. And his second job now is get the vaccine from Pfizer. He didn't. What exactly has he been doing all year besides staying at home with his vacation beard, smoking pot and playing Sony PlayStation? I don't quite know. He has not, like, what has he done? He doesn't have a lot, there are no hospitals. He runs no hospitals. That's a provincial thing. Why, you know, just, so switch the channel. Talk about Julie Payette. And just show everyone in town who's boss. You know, it's dangerous being a woman, being appointed by Justin Trudeau, because if you get offside with him, he'll sack you. Jody Wilson-Raybould, Selena Caesar-Chavannes, Eva Nassif, a wonderful MP from Montreal, just sacked because she didn't say, I'm with you, as you were, you know, credibly accused of groping a woman. I'm with you, boss, because she didn't chime in. You have to be a totally submissive fangirl, like Catherine McKenna, who will turn a blind eye to all of Trudeau's misogyny to survive in Trudeau's inner circle. Any woman who dares to think for herself is sacked. Jane Philpott. Imagine how many lives would have been saved if Jane Philpott, perhaps the most competent minister in Trudeau's cabinet, was sacked for being too ethical. And in her place, she's a doctor, health minister, competent. In fact, what has she been doing the last year? She's been actually working on the front lines, and replace her with a graphic designer named Patty Haidu, who reads Chinese Communist Party talking points. And, if Justin Trudeau would have respected a thoughtful, strong, competent, accomplished woman named Dr. Jane Philpott, I bet we'd have 5,000 fewer deaths in Canada. I really do. So who should be the next Governor General? I think it's really weird right now that the position is being held by a judge. No, that's a conflict of interest. I think it's too bad that Queen Elizabeth didn't put her foot down a bit when Justin Trudeau said, I'm going to fire my boss. Yeah, it doesn't work that way. The boss fires you. So who should be the next Governor General? Well, I mean, if Trudeau can have his pick based on intersectionality, I have my pick based on woke intersectionality. Who loves Canada, has been to every province and territory, is iconic, who is supports the veterans, which is actually part of the Governor General's job, and who has a great sense of humor and loves animals. Well, obviously it's Don Cherry. And we've set up a petition at appointdoncherry.com. Oh, look at that. We've already got 1,318 signatures. I think that thing went up just like last night. Don't tell me he wouldn't be great. Just great. He's got the stature for it. Why doesn't he have an Order of Canada, let alone be the Governor General? Well, because he supports the troops and he actually has some conservative blood in his body. He's not just a woke leftist like the favorites of Trudeau. I know it'll likely never happen, but I like having that petition anyways. Yeah, who do you think he'll pick, Trudeau? Put your thoughts in the super chats and I'll read them. I think he might go for the first trans Governor General. I mean, because Joe Biden has nominated a trans deputy for Health and Human Services named Levine. Do you want to put a picture of Levine on the screen? Levine is sort of like Patty Haidu, absolutely atrocious. Levine was in charge of Pennsylvania's healthcare, and like Cuomo in New York, just shipped sick people to seniors' homes, just caused hundreds of deaths. But because Levine is a transgender, Joe Biden is appointing Levine to his government. Levine is completely incompetent. You could say that the policies promulgated by Levine in Pennsylvania killed thousands. You could say that. But the trans quota is, so now Trudeau's got to one-up Biden. If Biden's appointing trans appointees, surely Trudeau does too. I wonder if he'll appoint Jonathan Yaniv as Governor General, so he can't get that one-upmanship going. Let's read some super chats, and then I got a few other things I want to tell you today. Varying Redbeard says, "Smash like, you fools." Well, thanks for the £5, first of all. And you know what? I keep forgetting to say, please click the like button and the share button. There's about 1,400 people watching now. We are editing a video right now that I should have done a little bit earlier, and I'm sorry I was a little bit late this morning, Justin. Something dramatic happened to me last night. And you know, when things happen and it takes a while to, you're sort of startled and you react immediately. You have an emotional reaction. You have maybe an adrenaline reaction. You have a first take reaction. But then 12, 24 hours pass and you maybe get a little distance from the immediate shock of it. And you can be a little more thoughtful, maybe a little more philosophical. And so I received a priority post letter yesterday from Justin Trudeau's government. And it came in late in the day. My mind was completely on other matters. I think I had done my show, so I was just, my mind was elsewhere. And this, I have a very large response to what was in this letter, and we might have it ready before the end of the show. If we're going to take the time to do it right, I just said to Efron, if you can get that video ready by the end of the live stream, great, but I would rather it be done right than done fast. So I do have some news. I'm not trying to tease you, peoples. I'm saying I hope that I'll have this for you by the end of the live stream. If not, we'll surely have it by 2 o'clock today. But when you get a registered letter or a priority post letter or whatever sent to you from the Trudeau government, if you're a liberal, it's probably free money. If you're a conservative, you better call a lawyer. I'll tell you more about this later. Let's read some super chats. Sneaky Beaver, $5 Ezra. We received a journal called the Epoch Times, translated in French, and mainstream media is enraged by it and wish Canada Post to censor the mail we receive. Yeah, I've read the story out of, I think it was Saskatchewan or Manitoba, I can't remember which, where some postal worker is saying, I refuse to deliver it. Well, then you're in the wrong business, buddy, because it's not for you to read the mail of Canadian citizens and decide whether or not they are allowed to receive it. That might be what postmen do in the former Soviet Union, in China, Iran, North Korea today. But if you are a postman and you're reading the mail meant for your customers, that's really gross to begin with. And then if you're saying, I don't want to deliver it, I want to censor it, that's illegal. But that's cancel culture. Mark Heckner, $2. Thank God for Rebel News. Well, thank you, Mark. Yorgi, $5. Baseball legend Hank Aaron passed away today. He had the vaccine 2 weeks ago. Now I don't want to jump to conclusions. I'm just saying, me for Governor General, by the way. Yeah, I mean, I am not anti-vax in essence or in principle. I am aware that vaccines have killed thousands of people, and I am told that those are anomalies. Yeah, it sucks to be those anomalies. I believe that it is possible to have vaccines that are time-tested. The thing is, rushing to market with a vaccine for a disease that's not even a year old. I know that they haven't tested it on pregnant women. I know they have, and how long does it take to get the side effect? We've seen reports of people fainting. We've seen the reports of allergic reactions. We've seen the reports of deaths. And if this was an Ebola virus that was killing half the people who contracted it and that was just raging through communities, if this was like the Black Plague. I remember, I don't know if you remember, about 9 months ago, we did a story on Marseille, that wonderful, beautiful, exquisite city in France on the Mediterranean, and how a plague ship came in from the Eastern Mediterranean, and it was told to quarantine offshore, but they sort of, local politicians were bribed or something, and it was allowed to dock early. And before it was done, half of Marseille died. It was so cataclysmic. The rest of France built a plague wall. Give me some footage of Marseille. I've never been there, but it's got to be one of the most beautiful cities in the Mediterranean. So the beautiful city of Marseille, half the people in it died. The other Frenchmen built a wall around it to contain it, like zombies. So if we were dealing with the Black Plague, yeah, like just unbelievable beauty. Just an incredible medieval port city. Yeah, give me one of those from the port. Like, I mean, that really is. Yeah, that one's a good one. Okay. That's a bit of a tangent there, isn't it? If we were talking about the Black Plague, the bubonic plague, the Black Death that had different names. Yeah, I mean, what an incredible, incredible, incredible city. I gotta get there. Half the people in that city died from the plague. If that's what we were talking about, I'd say, you know what? Can't be too dainty about the vaccine. You got a 50% chance of dying from the plague. Jab that thing in me now. Absolutely. But we're talking about a virus, COVID-19, that if you're under 70, has what, a 99.9% recovery rate? And yeah, that's very different from the historic plagues. Let me catch up. In Darkness, $10, David. Vote David Menzoid Menzies for the greatest Canadian Don Cherry Award. I don't know what you mean. That's a few things, a few separate things there. Ant Crazy, $5. We already have a trans personality with Dr. Tam. We need a token person of color. I don't know if Dr. Tam is trans. I've seen that gossip on the internet. I want to tell you that if Dr. Tam is trans, that is not the source of my opposition to her. The source of my opposition to her is that she, for the longest time, was a stooge of the World Health Organization of the United Nations. In fact, incredibly, she was on WHO payroll as an officer of the World Health Organization, while she was also Canada's public health officer. How do you have two masters? How can you be loyal to two bosses, especially when they're at odds? When the World Health Organization is controlled by Communist China, how on earth do we have an honest dealer who's working for the Communist China-controlled World Health Organization? I think she's also really creepy and bizarre with her proposals to lock people up. I think her advice on sex is bizarre, creepy, weird, inappropriate. I think she's mugging for the cameras. None of that has anything to do with her own personal sexuality, other than her bizarre sex advice, which I'm not even going to get into here because it's so gross. Yeah, my beef with Theresa Tam is not whether or not she's trans. It's what she says and does. I don't know if she's trans or not, and it's not, as I just indicated, it's not my issue with her. Matin Monzavi, grapes for Governor General. Yeah, wouldn't that be something? Paul Williamson, $5. I understand that Payette had to leave a previous position under a cloud of accusations. Clearly she was not vetted for the position of Governor General. I'm sure that's true. I'm sure that's true. I'm sure I would not like to work for her. I'm sure that there is some truth in the accusations against her, but then again, you know, a lot of federal government offices are full of pouty, grievance-oriented government public sector bureaucrats. That said, it's indisputable that the timing and the manner in which she was thrown out was to suit Justin Trudeau's own political needs. Tina Goodale, $21. Thanks, Tina. Alex, $5. Can't wait to teach my daughter all the dirty tricks I know about competing in sports against men. Sack tap, cleat stomp, walk over, and so much more. Well, I did my whole show on that yesterday about Joe Biden's executive order. I think it's Title IX. Was it Title IX? Is that what it is? Title IX of what does Title IX mean? Title. It was, I think, some act about. It was a human rights law from 1972, and Title IX was a specific part of it that referred to. If you took money from the federal government, you had to comply with their human rights vision, civil rights as they call it down there. And in particular, you can't treat men and women differently for the same sort of thing. So if you have a boys' sports team at your college, you have to fund a girls' sports team if you're going to take money from the feds. Yeah, Title IX and sex discrimination. So it was, yeah, Department of Education, but it applies to so many things because so many universities have sports teams. So it really said to sports teams, you got to let the girls play too. And there were a lot of ways Title IX was abused over the years, but I have to say, I don't have a really big beef with the federal government saying, if you're taking our money, you got to let boys and girls have sports teams. I'm not opposed to that. I mean, there are other excesses of Title IX, but Joe Biden made an executive order. Why don't you show it? Yeah. Executive order on preventing and combating discrimination on the basis of gender identity or sexual orientation. So this order, I think it was a day one order. Yeah. Said you got to, same rule for men and women, now you got to apply it to trans. Can you search for the word trans in there? Just, yeah. So, for example, I mean, is there another use of the word trans there, or do they just use, that's the only one? Can you find gender identity? Yeah. Discrimination on the basis of gender identity or sexual orientation manifests. Okay, so yeah, gender identity, it's throughout there. Look at all the different. So this is a law that takes the existing Title IX and stretches it to include trans. Gender identity, gender expression. Gender identity, gender expression is what a guy puts on a dress. That's gender expression. Gender identity is if a guy just says, I feel like a woman. As Shania Twain would say, man, I feel like a woman. So if you say, I'm a man who feels like a woman, do, 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 do. Is that man who feels like, yeah. If you're a man who feels like a woman, that's your gender identity. You may have a bushy beard. You may be 6'4", 200 pounds, and full of muscles. But if your identity, which is your own expression, your own view, says you're a fella, or a gal rather, you're a fella who says he's a gal, now Title IX will be applied to let you into the girls' sports teams. Anyone who takes money from the Fed. So that would be the U.S. Olympic team, I would imagine. So the way I see it, and I said this in my show yesterday, is there was a golden era of girls in sports, girls and women. I mean, there was a time when women were not allowed to run in the Boston Marathon. I find that odd. Why would you care? Why wouldn't you, like, okay, you can measure men against men and measure women against women, but it's a path, it's like a street. What do you care if a woman's running on the street too? So they actually had police arresting women who were running in the Boston Marathon. Isn't that weird? And so that came to an end, obviously, and then women in sports, it was part of liberalization, women's lib, as it used to be called, women's liberation. And then Title IX really, added a turbo boost to that because all these schools who were taking money from the Fed said, well, we like our money and let's just do it. So I'd say there was 50 golden years for women and girls in sports. And I say girls because this applies to schools. It was nice while it lasted because now every loser who's a guy who can't compete against the guys and tries and can't compete and tries and can't compete can say, you know what, I'm going to go crush these girls because a really crappy guy wrestler is probably going to beat every girl in the team. That's a girl. No, that's a guy. No, it's a guy who says he's a girl. Laurel Hubbard. Hey, girls, meet your new gal. She's on the team. And you're competing against Laurel. Laurel Hubbard is transgender and is making waves. Yeah, pretty cool. So, women's weightlifting, it's a thing. I'm not against it. I mean, it's not the most feminine of sports. But if a girl wants to be a weightlifter, right on. Stay healthy, stay fit, have some strength. It's probably good for personal safety and personal defense, self-defense. And it's cool, and you hang out in the gyms. It's cool to lift weights, absolutely. But if you're a competitive weightlifter for a girl, you've got no chance now. Because that guy says he's a girl, transgender weightlifter, wins international women's competition, sets national record. There he is, Laurel Hubbard. So proud. Used to compete against men. Laurel Hubbard competed with men. That's a Huffington Post article, I think. So, Yeah, I mean, so much for women's weightlifting, so much for women's boxing, so much for women's shot put, so much for women's javelin, so much for women's long jump, sprinting. There are sports in which women are biologically better than men. I think swimming is one of them. But pretty much an end to women's sports. Exclusive. NCAA champion Cece Telfer says, I have no advantage by being trans. Yeah, ain't that the truth? Hey girls, meet your new teammate. I mean, come on. Come on. Too bad though, because I think girls should be allowed to play sports. But then again, I'm a right-winger. And only a right-winger thinks girls should play sports. This is really erasing women from the public square. I thought lefties used to care about that. Too bad. Let's catch up. What did Efron say? Okay, well, we might have that. We might have that in time, that special video. If not, don't worry about it. It's exporting. Yeah, you know what? It's my fault. I should have been done in an hour earlier. I'm sorry, Efron. I'm sorry, Justin. Okay, let's get cooking here. Let's get cooking. Brackathor, $5. O'Toole fired Derek Sloan so the cool kids would like him. You fired Faith Godley for the same. It helped neither of you. Don't you feel hypocritical? Absolutely not. I didn't fire Faith Goldie, or Faith Godley, as you call her, for the cool kids to like me. You're referring to 3.5 years ago when Faith Goldie went down to Charlottesville, contrary to my instructions to her not to. When she came back and I realized where she was and what had gone on, people said, fire her. And I thought, well, I'm not going to fire her for insubordination, for going to cover a story, even though I told her not to. I don't think that's a firing offense. The whole world said, fire her, fire her, fire her, and I resisted for several days. At great cost, I should tell you. Then, it was only 3 or 4 days later that she revealed to me that she had kept hidden from me an interview she did on the Daily Stormer podcast, a Nazi interview. I fired her for that. If I were to have fired her because the cool kids said fired her, I would have fired her on the weekend or on Monday morning, which is when people demanded she be fired for attending Charlottesville as a reporter. I fired her for participating in a Nazi show and for deceiving me, covering that up and hiding it, and for extremely bad judgment in both matters. That's why I fired her, and I would fire her again for that, because I don't want someone who's participating in Nazi programs to be a rebel. I would fire her again today. I would fire her more vociferously. So you're dead wrong on that. C182OPR, Jessica Yaniv for Governor General. YouTube won't let me use his first name. Isn't that interesting? I know Twitter won't let you use his first name. You get suspended on Twitter for dead naming or misgendering someone who's trans. Chris Lynch, $5. Shannon Stubbs' office told me they do not support Sloan's removal. Also, they said she supports Rebel News and disagrees with O'Toole's views of Rebel. Is that a fact, Chris Lynch? Well, that's very interesting. Maybe send that comment if you want to grab that and send that by email to Sheila. Viking Insane, $2. Surprised France hasn't replaced La Marseillaise. Oh, you're talking about Marseille. Okay. Benjamin Van Drunen, $5. Cautionary examples of putting things in your body that were not thought out. Thalidomide and McIntyre powder, which was mandatory in mining workplaces. Yeah, those are the classic examples. Now, there is such a thing as over-regulating, and I'm not saying in any way that we should ban vaccines. I'm just saying, obviously, don't make them mandatory, and let's test them, and let's have some balance here. If Ebola was, God forbid, sweeping its way through Canada, and if we had a Marseille-style death of 1 out of every 2 people, I might just jab that thing in my arm too, but we do not have that situation. But boy, there's a lot of money in it, isn't there? A lot of money. And I keep saying, cui bono, look to follow the money. Is there a lockdown? Why? Who benefits? Is Amazon richer? You bet they are. Is Bill Gates richer? You bet he is. Is he the biggest vaccine guy in the world? You bet he is. Is he going to make out like a bandit? You bet he is. Richard Sherman, $5. With the last scandal of Aaron the Tool, how do you feel about the Maverick Party in the West versus the Conservative Party? Richard, I honestly don't know enough about the Maverick Party. I know it exists. I know a little bit about it. I couldn't tell you the leader. I just don't know enough to answer, but I think some conservatives will vote for anything just to oppose the Liberal Party. Other conservatives vote more on principle and can't bring themselves to vote for O'Toole because really, how is he a conservative? It's a pickle, because on the one hand, is Aaron O'Toole better than the Liberal Party and Justin Trudeau? And I think that despite his cowardice, his deceit, his cancel culture, his censorship, his lack of due process, and his general incompetence, I think he'd be a better Prime Minister than Justin Trudeau. Am I wrong? Tell me if I'm wrong. Nicole Baudouin, $75. Hi, Nicole. How you doing? Thank you very much for the support. Say hi to Roger for me. Jewy, $2. Favorite governors? Mine are DeSantis and Noem. Mine too. Mine too. And you see, Governor DeSantis ordered the National Guard from Florida home. Nancy Pelosi said, I want 25,000 bodyguards because I'm the princess. And all these National Guards show up, and they were told to sleep in the parking garage. And Ron DeSantis said, yeah, we're not your personal retinue. I'm ordering my troops home. Good for him. Chris Lynch, $2. Applied to Rebel, just making my name known. Laugh out loud. Thanks, Chris. Hockey Dad, $2. Soon all the best women athletes will be men. Yeah, absolutely. And what a shame. Brackethor, $5. You fired Faith for telling the wrong other side of the story. In the words of Mark Dutrock's lawyer, representing Dutrock isn't saying he's right. No, you're completely wrong on that. Have you even listened to the Stormfront podcast? I can't believe I'm talking about this 3.5 years later. She wasn't reporting. She was participating. When I thought she was simply reporting on Charlottesville, I said, I don't like the fact that she's down there, but she's reporting, and that's what we do. But then when she went on Stormfront, she participated, which is completely different. She was there as the star, not as someone reporting other things. And she didn't report. She did the opposite of reporting. She kept it secret. So I don't even think you've listened to the podcast. Listen, if you really want to talk about that, you can keep chucking $5 in the super chat. But it's about 3.5 years old. And I think after I fired her, she absolutely confirmed the path she was on. She went deeper and deeper into racist commentaries. I haven't heard from her lately. I blocked her on Twitter a long time ago. I have no idea what she's up to, and frankly, I don't care. The only reason I'm talking about it is because I make a point of talking to all super chats, even if they're a little bit goofy. Jewy, $2. Big things coming during Young Dundas protest Saturday. Well, we certainly did a great job, if I may praise our team. We had 5 people down there last time, and we did great coverage. I just hope the police don't touch our reporters. They touched Mocha last time, and boy, did that make me mad. Crystal Roberts, $5. Hi, Common Sense community. I hope everyone is healthy and safe. Ezra, what is your take on the MeWe social platform? Will Rebel get one? You know, I've seen that word. I honestly haven't even been to the website. There's so many social platforms. We're on a bunch of them. I think we're on Telegram. I don't know. We were on Parler before that got nuked. We're on Instagram. I think we got almost 50,000 followers on Instagram. We got about 200,000 followers on Twitter. We're on Facebook. Of course, YouTube is our biggest social media platform. Richard Sherman, $5. Well, I won't vote for Fidel's son. Yeah, and that's my point. Curtis Unger, $7. We are all distracted while the reptilians take over the world. Well, I don't know what you mean by reptilians. If you actually mean reptiles, I'm going to part company with you on that. But if you mean a certain mindset or a certain elitism or globalism, if perhaps that's what you mean. Mr. Hammerdance, 223, vivimus moriendum est. I'm not going to try and translate Latin. Whenever I do that, I wind up embarrassing myself. Let us live, we must die. I mean, vivimus. I know viva means life, and moriendum, like moratorium, that means death, mortality. But I'm just not good at translating. I pretend I am. I like to think I am, but I am not. AMT, $5. Do you think that Trudeau's new proposed media censorship laws will affect Rebel News and True North? It's so coincidental that you would say that. How is the processing on the vid? Because it's so funny you say that. Because the answer is yes. The short answer is yes. But had I gotten up earlier today and done more work faster, you can't rush things. So I made a video this morning about a letter I got last night from Trudeau's government. It's by priority mail. I don't know if that's different than registered mail. I think it's different. And inside this letter envelope were two letters. Actually had a cover letter too. I should probably send that to Mike because there was a cover letter. I'll get him to scan it later. I'll bring that to him later. We have been censored in the most amazing way. Is the website ready? All right, well, guys, it's 12:36, and I'm going to show you what came in this envelope. Are you curious? Are you curious what came in this envelope? I had a really busy day yesterday. I had so much going on, I was almost pooped. And then Nathan just says, "Here, Ez." And I say, "Oh, what's this?" And I open it up. And here's the video. Take a look. Late yesterday, I received this envelope by priority mail. It's from Justin Trudeau's elections commissioner. In it was two letters. I have been convicted of 2 counts of breaking the law, and I've been fined a whopping $3,000 specifically for comparing Justin Trudeau to Tony Soprano and for publishing a book that compares them. It's this book, which was the #1 Amazon bestseller in Canada, The Libranos, What the Media Won't Tell You About Justin Trudeau's Corruption. They convicted me under sections 352 and 353 of the Elections Act. Check this out from the conviction letters. It's actually the largest part of their rationale. I'm guilty, they say, because, quote, the book's title reference to Libranos, which was clearly designed to create an association between the name of a registered party and The Sopranos, a mafia-themed television show, and to link the party to corruption. They also say the drawing on the cover is an illegal election activity. It's based on the original poster for the TV show The Sopranos. They say that's illegal because it's too mean. Quote, drawings of the show's characters were replaced with drawings of the leader and other public figures of the party, unquote. The police say that's against the law, so I have to pay $3,000 in fines. I know you find this hard to believe, so I've put a copy of the 2 letters online at saverebelnews.com. Go there and read them for yourself. Now, these convictions and fines came as a surprise to me because the trial was done in secret. I was not invited to the trial. I did not even know about it. I was not allowed to send a lawyer to the trial because I didn't know about it either. This is nuts. I knew they were hunting me because they interrogated me a year ago, but I really just assumed they had dropped the whole thing because it was so crazy. Remember this, before the pandemic, last year I was summoned to Elections Canada, their headquarters, and 2 30-year veterans of the RCMP, officers who used to work on terrorism cases and drug cases and money laundering, things like that. They interrogated me for an hour. Now, I knew it was a setup, so I wore a hidden camera and I turned the tables on them. Remember this? I've got a question for you. I've answered a few of your questions now. Have you investigated any of the other authors who published books about Trudeau at the exact same time as me? Have you investigated John Ivison's book or Aaron Wary's book?
There's over 24 books that were published around that period.
You haven't answered my question. Have you investigated John Ivison or Aaron Wary's books?
I haven't.
Have you?
I haven't.
Yeah. Is anyone in your office investigating any other books about Justin Trudeau or just the book that's critical of him? No.
Today we're here about Rebel News Network Limited.
Oh, I know that. And I'm just asking you to confirm
But once
that
we're done,
not a single other loving book of Trudeau is being
But
investigated.
once we're done, if you believe that there should be complaints that are...
No, because I'm not a censor like you. I'm not a bully and a censor. I'm not a bureaucrat looking to justify my budget like you. I go out and earn my living every day, fella. You call in authors to grill them about a book criticizing your boss. Think about who you are.
We call the director of Rebel News Network Limited.
Yeah, who happens to be the author of the book. I think there's going to be a chapter about you two fellas in the next edition. I specifically asked the cops if I could see the complaint against me, and they said no. Can I see the complaint against me?
The letter that you received?
No. I presume that you're investigating
Oh,
me
the
based
complaint.
on a complaint, yeah.
Well, this is still part of the investigation, so we'll have to, once the investigation's been completed, the commission will have to make a decision, and at that point, he'll have to decide if that is releasable or not. It's not
So-
something that's usually is released, no.
So it's a secret complaint?
It's not a secret complaint, it's just a complaint that's part of the investigation. And to keep the integrity of the investigation right now, you'll understand that we can't share everything that we have. As we
Oh, I don't
go
want
along.
everything that you had. If I'm here to meet a complaint, but you won't show me the complaint, how can I possibly meet the complaint? How can I possibly respond to something that you won't show me?
Well, though, I think the letter was quite clear on what the infraction is alleged, and this is what we want to clarify with you.
Well, did you generate the complaint, or was it from an outside party?
No, we didn't generate the complaint. The
Okay,
office
so
of the commission
someone-
did not generate the complaint.
So someone external to your office generated the complaint?
That is usually the case.
Is that the case in this case?
Yeah. Yeah, we did not generate the complaint.
Okay, was it the Liberal Party that generated the
We can't go
complaint?
into that, sir.
So you won't tell me who the complaint is? The complainant is? That's a secret?
Yeah, no, not at this point.
So at what point do you tell me who the
The
secret
commissioner
complaint
is the ultimate responsible person for the investigation and how this is decided.
So how do I know what conduct has been complained about if you won't tell me? They told me that I should have registered my book with the government like they do in China.
The knowledge that you would have or not have of the Election Act, the Canada Elections Act, when you are planning the book and the new third-party rules, because I believe there's some comments on your site as well about that, did you give any consideration of saying, maybe I should register as a third party for this circumstance, or maybe I shouldn't because of my interpretation of what I'm going to do, or did you not make that determination?
Tim, I appreciate the question. Yeah, I absolutely did think about that at great length.
Do you want to share any of those thoughts?
Well, sure, some of them. I mean, I thought the day I register with the government to write a book is the day we no longer are the True North Strong and Free. And if Elections Canada's commissioners are stupid enough to prosecute me for writing, publishing, and promoting a book about an election during an election, then that's an important fight to have, because we need to roll back these pencil-neck bureaucrats and their blackface boss, and we need to remind them that we're still a free country. So I thought about it long and hard, Tim.
So that was a year ago, and I hadn't heard from them in about a year. I assumed that they had dropped the case after I published that hidden camera video showing what they had said to me behind closed doors, but I guess not. They were just moving at the speed of government really slow. So, you know, this is all illegal, in case you were wondering. The Elections Act itself says that books and the promotion of books, so ads, billboards, whatever, they're exempt from this creepy censorship. Books don't count as election advertising. Here's Section 2 of the Elections Act. Election advertising does not include the distribution of a book or the promotion of the sale of a book for no less than its commercial value if the book was planned to be made available to the public regardless of whether there was to be an election. So my book meets all those tests, and the promotion of it is exempt under the law. And of course, Section 2 of the Charter of Rights guarantees my freedom of speech in the press too. So this is just Trudeau attacking anyone who embarrasses him, and they're themselves breaking the law. They're violating my rights. I have to tell you, I'm not going to pay the $3,000 in fines. I'm sorry. I'm just not going to pay the $3,000. I do not accept a punishment for writing a book criticizing Justin Trudeau. There is not one factual error in the book. It's not defamatory. I know Trudeau hates it, but grow up, you pampered twit. I'm going to appeal these convictions because obviously it's a political setup and it's a sign of Trudeau's censorship plans to come. Just last week, Trudeau's government told the Globe and Mail they intend to set up an entire new government bureaucracy in charge of censorship, and obviously their first target is Rebel News. They really aren't hiding it anymore. I'm going to appeal these illegal convictions, and I'm going to help other journalists, even though most other journalists these days are fine with censoring conservatives and are fine with cancel culture. I'm going to challenge the constitutionality of this entire law so that no other author will ever be interrogated by police and convicted in a secret trial and fined $3,000 for criticizing a politician of any stripe. That constitutional challenge is going to cost me a lot more than $3,000. There's no way a constitutional challenge against the government will cost less than $100,000, but I'd rather spend $100,000 fighting for freedom than $3,000 paying off a bully like Trudeau. If you can help me, please go to SaveRebelNews.com, read the conviction letters for yourself, and please chip into our legal defense fund. I hope we win, and if we lose, and we'll appeal, and if we lose again, I have to tell you now, I simply will not pay. I just will not pay. The law does give Trudeau the power to seize our assets if I don't pay, to take our computers, or to raid our bank account, or even, I guess, take our books in satisfaction of their fine. Do you doubt Trudeau would actually do that? He'd probably want to take the camera I'm talking in right now. I mean, what would Tony Soprano do to me? Censorship isn't coming. Censorship is already here. We at Rebel News are the canary in the coal mine. If we don't fight back now, you could be next. Please go to SaveRebelNews.com to read the convictions and to help us crowdfund our legal appeal and constitutional challenge. Thank you. That's great. Tell Efron that's a perfect edit. Thanks very much for that. We'll upload that to YouTube when this live stream is done. Hopefully playing the whole thing in full here didn't mess with the algorithms. Can I see what SaveRebelNews.com looks like? So, I mean, that really happened. I really did get these two letters yesterday. So Save Rebel News, Trudeau's election commissioner convicted us. Elections Canada just fined me $3,000 for writing a book comparing Justin Trudeau to Tony Soprano. Please help us crowdfund our legal appeal and constitutional challenge. Okay, there's the video. Looks like we're still we're going to make a quick change to the video, and we're going to put a proper title on that YouTube video there, and then scroll down. Yeah, there's a section of Section 2 that says books are exempt, and scroll down a bit. Oh, read the full letters. Perfect. Yeah, that's the conviction letters. Okay, good. Great. Well, thanks, everybody. The whole team here worked on that very quickly this morning. I was the bottleneck, of course. I think the only thing, I think we have one quick change to make to the video. Is that what you said? Minor thing. We're just cleaning it up a bit. So that's great. Thanks, Efron, for working so quickly. The only thing I'll add, and it shouldn't slow anything down, is I forgot there was a cover letter with these two violation notices, so I'll just give that to Mike and we can scan that and put that up too so people can read the whole thing. I mean, it's really incredible. You can go to that website now. It's not 100% done, but I've got it here. Let me just, it really is crazy. Do you see this? I mean, I know you can't see the individual words, but you see this really big paragraph here, and then a littler paragraph and a little paragraph. So that really big paragraph is the one, yeah, thanks, is the one that complains about the Tony Soprano's part. I can't believe it. And then the next one just talks about the timing, and then the last one is how I'm such a really bad boy. But it's just so crazy. Is that, you got that on your screen there, or is that from the video? Oh, that's actual. Yeah, well, can you pump that up a tiny bit? So, like, they really are mad about me comparing Trudeau to Tony Soprano. During the 43rd federal general election, Rebel News distributed lawn signs. That's one of the ways we advertise. We also advertised online, we advertised in video, banners, promoting Ezra Levant's book, Libranos, What the Media Won't Tell You About Justin Trudeau's Corruption, that contained an advertising message opposing a registered party and its leader. The advertising message contained the book's title, reference to Libranos, which was clearly designed to create an association between the name of a registered party and The Sopranos, a mafia-themed television show, and to link the party to corruption. Yeah, I think they already handled that link pretty well on their own. Justin Trudeau's being convicted, 5 times under the Conflict of Interest Act? The advertising message also contained an edited version of a graphic used to promote the show. I think they mean The Sopranos show. Drawings of the show's characters were replaced with drawings of the leader and other federal public figures of the party. Anyhow, I'll let you read it yourself. The whole thing's up there for you to scrutinize. What do you think of that? My book was very popular. Go to the Amazon page. Let's just see how it's doing. I think it has like over 900 reviews, and they're overwhelmingly positive. Now, that doesn't tell you everything, but it tells you a lot. Yeah, so that's the Kindle version. 937 ratings, and it looks like it's like the average rating is 5 stars. I don't even know how that's possible. Yeah, click on it. Let's see what it. Yeah, because there's so many. 86% of the ratings are 5-star. 10% are 4-star, 2% are 1-star. You know what? I'm just going to guess that those people that haven't actually read the thing. But hey, fair enough. That's what you do. If you don't like the book, then just don't read it, or you know, criticize it or whatever. It's $7.50. A pretty good deal, I think. $15 if you like the paperback. That book went to number 1. Like, it really did go to number 1. And it's got so many footnotes in it, but not a single factual error has ever been alleged. So if it's not defamatory, if there's nothing factually false in it, if there's nothing wrong with it other than you might disagree with me, you might disagree with my interpretations or opinions, okay, great, that's what books are for. There, by the way, as you heard in my interview with the cops, there were 23 other books on Trudeau you could have chosen in the last election if you preferred. Can you go in, I'm just trying to think, can you type in Wherry, W-H-E-R-R-Y? That's a CBC reporter. He wrote a book about Trudeau as well. So type in Wherry Trudeau. I don't remember the name of the book. Okay, so there you go. The CBC's Trudeau lover, he loves Trudeau. His book came out around the same time, and it has 16 ratings and 3.5 star average, looks like, 3.7 out of 5. You know, so what's the ranking? You know how to find that? Scroll down a little bit. So this CBC book on Trudeau, the bestsellers rank, now the election's over, I get it, is 132,456th in books. So that's safe to say no one's reading it, no one's really. Now I don't think I'm even in the top 1,000. Oh, okay, so in political biographies, yeah, the election's over, so the books aren't hot anymore. So Aaron Wherry's CBC government love letter is, you see he's ranked 681 in political biographies in Canada. I didn't know there were 681 political biographies in Canada. So being ranked 681st out of 681, that's another way of saying no one cares. Now, where am I? Can you go back to mine? I'm just curious. where am I in that same ranking? And I acknowledge, by the way, that, yeah, click there. Oh, I'm 12, yeah. Click on the 12 one. I just want to see what the other Canadian political biographies are. Oh, so it's even American. You got Michelle Obama, Donald Trump, Joe Biden, Desmond Kelly, he's doing well. Desmond Cole, there's Trump again, Kamala Harris. So this is all these Americans, Malcolm X, Kamala Harris, Joe Biden. I can't believe, I think I'm actually the top Canadian book here. Could go up a bit. Is there another Canadian book? Like all these American. Oh, Desmond Cole, he's Canadian. So right now, the Libranos is the #2 Canadian political biography. Desmond Cole's is higher than me. The rest is just like, I mean, get over it. You love Kamala Harris, Michelle Obama, Joe Biden, Donald Trump. Like, show some national pride. This is the Canadian list, obviously. America, I don't even want to look at it. But yeah, it's different versions of the same. Like you see 2 versions of the Biden stuff, 2 versions of the, and that's fine. Listen, I don't doubt that every woke liberal in Canada is erotically reading books about Joe Biden. I'm just pointing out that, you know, a year and a half after the last election, my book on the Libranos is still like it's number 11, the only Canadian book on the list other than Desmond Cole. I'm sort of proud of that, to be honest. Scroll down, like your Ruth Bader Ginsburg, Malcolm X, Michael Cohen, Trump, Biden, James Comey, Hamilton, Trump, Obama. I'm sorry, this is embarrassing for a country like Canada to be so obsessed with other countries. Like another Biden book, another James Comey book, another Trump book, Biden, James Comey, Trump. Okay, Dave Rubin, there he is. So there's, but these are all Americans. Like surely, that's the top 50. That's enough there. Out of the top 50 books, 2 are Canadian. One by Desmond Cole and one by me. I am deeply embarrassed that every liberal Canadian is buying books about American politicians. I mean, talk about an inferiority complex. It's 12:57. Let me catch up on the Super Chats. So that's a very long answer to AMT's question about censorship. So we will tweak that video, finalize the website, and that should be launched shortly. Matthew W., $5. Justin Trudeau's wife caught on camera wearing panda love pants. Search up panda eyes. You know what? I don't even know what you mean there, and I don't know the veracity of it, so I'm going to skip that one. Viking Insane, $2. La Marseillaise is French national anthem. It is not woke. Okay, thank you. Shauna Giesinger, $10. Curtis Unger, are you referring to the reptilian elites, the blood-drinking, flesh-eating, shape-shifting, extraterrestrial reptilian humanoids with only one objective, to slay the human race? Now, I don't know if you believe that that is fact or fiction or a metaphor. I hope you mean a metaphor or fiction. And this is what I say to everybody. Look, the world is crazy enough. The facts we know about the world are shocking enough. You don't need to invent new theories or conspiracy theories. You just don't, because you know why? If you're worried about censorship, it comes in brown envelopes like this from the government. It doesn't come from, you know, another planet. If you're worried about the enslavement of the human race, it comes from other men, not from aliens. There are pedophiles, Jeffrey Epstein, Harvey Weinstein, we know this. And I fully support prosecuting them, but it's a human crime. It's not an alien crime. One of my chief objections to the QAnon conspiracy theory and others is that it is a fabulist retreat. It's a, you know, it's escapism. I love a good escapist movie where you suspend your disbelief and you immerse yourself into an alternative, imaginative world. I was watching with the kids Dr. Dolittle. It was sort of fun, you know, to see creatures talking and whatever, but that's a fantasy, right? Then when it's done, turn it off, then come back to reality, because there's so much work to do against real problems. Kane and Mark, $5. Will Justin get over your book? She is acting like the Prime Minister, not the producer. Don't know what you mean. Hugh Prendergast, $7. What does Aaron O'Toole think about Elections Canada? I don't know. I'm going to guess he's going to be completely silent on this matter. That's my guess. Oh, didn't know my phone was still on. Sorry about that. Chris Lynch, WIPA gains 1,000 members last month. Thoughts? I think that's another way of saying the Western independence movement or something like that. Sorry, I just want to make sure it's 1 o'clock, so I just want to see who that was. Bill Howie, $5. Can you send a note to Eitan and ask him to check the front door? It's actually someone outside the front door for me delivering something very, very special. Can you just send him a note to get it? Thanks. Yeah, gaining 1,000 members last month, absolutely not surprising. I think Aaron O'Toole has made a lot of conservatives despondent. Bill Howie, $5. You must sue for damages for improper motive to publicly and judicially rebuke Justin Trudeau. See Meyer versus Osborne Contracting. Okay, you know what? I really appreciate the specific reference there. I'm going to Google that. I won't read it now, but I will look at that. You've got my interest, that's for sure. Tina Goodale, $7. Just went and bought the book. Couldn't help myself after having watched that. Thank you. Yeah, censorship. I mean, people probably want to know why the cops. What's a book that would get the cops to censor it? That's an interesting book. Connor McGovern, $5. More Canadians need to watch Rebel News. Share it as much as you can. Fake news has taken over, so support the little guys fighting it. Yeah, I really think you have to. Did you send a note to a very, very extremely important package, most important package of the day? You know, it's on par with this. Christopher Glenn, $5. Canadians own Canada. Well, yes, but there are some foreign interests that shape our politics. The Chinese Communist Party is an obvious example. In Darkness, $5. Don Cherry, love you, Ezra. Thank you. Now that's hockey. Yeah, he's great. £10 from Ray W. If it goes to court, wear T-shirts with Trudeau and blackface. Thanks, Ezra Ribble. Hey, that's not a bad idea. You know, there's a great case. I forget the name of it. Can you Google this for me? There was an important free speech case that went all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court of a guy wearing a T-shirt into court that said F-U-C-K, the draft. Can you Google that? Like he walked into, I think it was a court or a city hall or some, august, a proper institution. That's right, Culver's, California. Could you throw that? I forgot the name of the plaintiff. So he wears a shirt that doesn't say, so there you go. Landmark, 1971, landmark decision of the U.S. Supreme Court holding the First Amendment prevented the conviction of Paul Robert Cohen for the crime of disturbing the peace by wearing a jacket displaying F the draft, F-U-C-K. It's important that the word was spelled out. And this is just Wikipedia, but it's true. He was wearing in the public quarters of a California courthouse. The court ultimately found that displaying a mere four-letter word was not sufficient justification to allow states to restrict free speech, and that free speech can be restricted only under severe circumstances beyond offensiveness. And I won't get into it here, but the judge, I did read this case. You can take this down, thank you. The judge said the ability to say the F word was editorially important because it showed the angst and the urgency of the communication, saying, excuse me, sir, may we please protest the draft? Like if you would come in all dainty like that, that doesn't have the passion, emotion that citizen truly felt. Such an important case, perhaps the high watermark of the free speech movement, obviously a leftist against the war, although conservatives can be a war against the war too. Those were the precedents that were set, and I'm glad they were, because now the pendulum has swung and it's conservatives who are being ground down by censorship, including yours truly. Grumpy old gargoyle, $5. Super chat wouldn't let me mention a certain prime minister and spontaneous human combustion. Yeah, I'm not surprised they censor everything. Ian McEachern, $2. Receive free Epoch Times of the mail. Cue the outrage. Yeah, I got a free one, then I subscribed. Floyd Lowe, $5. Keep up the good work. It's all a matter of time when they get the boot by the voter. Well, I sure hope so. Derek Seed, $7.50. Thank you. Melly B, $5. You dismiss alternative platforms and brag about being on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. They are the censors. What do you stand for? No, I'm not dismissing alternative platforms. I'm saying I haven't had a chance to investigate MeWe. We were on Parler, and it was shut down. I'm not dismissing them. We had a very interesting, we're investigating Rumble, and we're investigating all other platforms. I'm not dismissing them. I've just never heard of MeWe before. Someone sent me a note about it. I haven't investigated it. We're on like 6 platforms. Are we still on Telegram? I think we are. And we were on Parler till we were nuked there, along with everybody else. So I'm not dismissing them. I'm just saying there's probably 100 platforms. I don't want to make we have only a limited amount of staff and resources. If there's a social media platform that has, a tiny viewership and weak operational expression, I don't want to waste our time on it. That's all. Mike Lazinski, $2. I will never say in all of us command. Yeah, me neither. What does that even mean? Varying Redbeard, £5. Favorite sequel? Godfather Part 3, maybe? No, I take that back. I got to think about that. Definitely not Angry Birds sequel. I love Angry Birds #1. What was a good sequel? You know what? You got me stumped there. I got to come back to that. Kenneth Melanchuk, $7. Didn't a similar instance happen to Rebel where you were convicted and fined $3,000 in absence? Wasn't it dropped when you challenged it? Yes, that was in Alberta. We're fighting, we fight for free speech everywhere. Good memory. Peter Farage, $5. Keep moving forward. We will do our best. We'll do our best. Yankee just sent me a note. We're on Parler. Is Parler back up? Not yet. We're on Minds, M-I-N-D-S. We're on Telegram. We're on BitChute. We're on Rumble. So we are on all these different platforms. Minds, Telegram, BitChute, Rumble, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. I mean, it's coming up close to 10. All right, let me get back on track. Are there any more? Any more Super Chats? No, okay. Well, everybody, thank you so much for participating today. I gave you the sneak peek of what came in the mail to me yesterday. Oh, there is one thing I want to say in closing, and I know this is from a long time ago now, half an hour ago. There was this one scene, I don't know if you can find it. It's in that video when I was talking to the cops in the third exchange. You see there's a poster on the wall. I never noticed it before. So when I'm talking to, there were the 2 cops, the one on the right, there was a poster on the wall, and in most of the shots you couldn't see it, but in the third clip, there's a poster on the wall that says Civility Charter. Can you find that image and put it online? I just have 1 minute on that. I never noticed that before. Yeah, so you see that poster, and if you scroll a bit, like here you can only see the bottom of that poster, right? But if you scroll, right there. I had never noticed that before. Did you notice that before, Justin? Election Canada's Civility Charter. Now, I've never seen this before. So I'm guessing it's don't be mean to us, don't swear, don't be, you must respect us. I think the Civility Charter, I think that's what that means. It means we know our service is terrible. Don't get lippy or we'll arrest you. The irony is, what should be on the wall, as I'm being interrogated by 2 30-year veterans of the RCMP, is the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms. Isn't it quite something that there's no Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms on the wall there, but a Civility Charter, which is really the opposite. It's a censorship charter. That image right there says everything you need to know. You edited that vid. I filmed that vid. I did not notice that till right now. Civility Charter. Your Honor, I'm here because under Section 2B of the Civility Charter. No. I'm going to protest and appeal and sue under the real Charter of Rights, which is only a modern expression of our ancient rights to free speech. Let me say this. I sometimes joke, Christians sometimes have a bracelet or something, WWJD, what would Jesus do? It's a good rule of thumb. And I think Justin Trudeau, if his was, WWTSD. What would Tony Soprano do? So let's say someone wrote a book embarrassing Tony Soprano. What would he do? He'd probably threaten them in some way, try and extract money from them in some way, threaten to smash them up, maybe threaten to hurt them in some way. Justin Trudeau, I compared him rather gently to Tony Soprano. Like it was just a shtick for the cover, and maybe there was one line in the book. I really don't think I even mentioned Sopranos inside the book itself. I'd have to check. It's been a while since I read it. Like it's just a fun cover and The Libranos, and it's on the cover. And I think I mentioned it like once because the rest of it is just talk about Trudeau's corruption. But what would Tony Soprano do? He would do what Justin Trudeau is doing. And the irony is, prosecuting me for calling Trudeau a Tony Soprano is WWTSD. That is what Tony Soprano would do. And it's a super gross look for a prime minister of any stripe, but it's right on brand with Justin Trudeau, who has always said he admires China's basic dictatorship. So I would say to you, my friends, this is not the first ditch, is it? It's not the last ditch yet. You'll be the one prosecuted under the last ditch. I'm the one prosecuted. I wouldn't say we're quite the first ditch because this has been going on for a while. But if we don't fight here, the precedent will be set, and the Tony Soprano of Rideau Cottage will be emboldened. I really believe that if I was rational in a traditional sense of the word, I'd pay the $3,000 and get out of it. Because even appealing it, and not even a constitutional challenge, will cost more than $3,000. Constitutional challenge will obviously be more than $100,000. I know this, having financed 2 of them before. But it's really not about a book or about me. It's about, can you really have a politician immune from embarrassing books? And can you really have a police force interrogating authors, but only 1 out of 24 Trudeau authors? By the way, all 24 books were during the campaign. That's when you write books, publish books, sell books. But only 1 guy was interrogated. So this will be interesting to see if any other public intellectuals, any other journalists, any other politicians, if Erin O'Toole, the Cowardly Lion, if anyone will stand up for free speech. I know we will, because we just have to. We have to. I hope some others might too. Ian McKnight says Beverly McLaughlin is likely Governor General, female and liberal celebrity. Oh my God. Just reading that, I know you're right. Folks, I got to go. There's one more super chat. Let me grab that one. What gives? $5. Next time they compare or say you are a fascist, then you should sue them back. Yeah, well, the thing is, fascist may be fair comment. I'm not a fascist, obviously. I feel like I'm the opposite of a fascist. I really believe in civil liberties. I'm crowdfunding the civil liberties defense of literally hundreds of people around the world, especially here in Canada, but also Australia and the UK. I'm not a fascist, but that may be someone's genuine opinion of me. I'm not going to send cops after them. Just do me the same favor in return. All right, folks, that's it. Do we have a dog video? We got a dog video. As you know, we like to end with a palate cleanser. Justin curates a dog video. I do not see it any sooner than you do. So this is where both you, the viewer, and I are going to see this at the same time. I'll say goodbye to you now. Here's Justin's dog video.
I pojď pucifouska. Prazi pucifouska. Pojď hned, pucifouska, jedem. Pojď pucifouska.
Ne. To jo, ale to je